Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cabana. I'm Ernie Carswell of Douglas Elliman, Beverly Hills. I lead a team of 26 professional agents. We call ourselves Carswell and Associates. We speak here on this Cabana series about helpful strategies for buyers, sellers, even real estate agents. We have a broad audience. I love hearing from you, and it tickles me to hear when I'm out and about around town, I'm watching your Cabana series, Ernie, and it helped me do X or Y. So keep watching. I want to keep helping. Today's focus is going to be to help our buyers have winning strategies in buying homes. This is a competitive market for most buyer neighborhoods, depending on your price category. The mortgage rate industry is fueling a lot of competition, especially in your mid-range and your entry-level markets. We have buyers that are competing against 14 to 20 other buyers for the one home win. Those need some special strategies. I'm going to give you some clues and some hints on that. We're also going to talk about a more traditional standard market dynamic and how to win just when it seems normal, because there can be some surprises when everything seems too calm. And then I want to give those buyers that seem to be always looking for the ultimate bargain and they're on the hunt to find the one property they can steal. I don't know if that's ever possible without going to jail. Just being too funny there, but to get the great bargain buy and how to outthink some of the market behaviors to get your great market buy when you're a buyer wanting that. So let's get down to business and let me give you some of those strategies, hoping to help. I break them down into three different category types, as I just mentioned. The first category type is below the belt, which is that seeking the ultimate prey, low purchase, but high value deal. Hard to find that in Los Angeles these days, but occasionally you'll be at a dinner party and you'll be at a social event since we're opening back up and you'll hear, oh, I got a great buy. So let me give you the idea about how to purchase a property at the below the belt category, the ultimate bargain. First of all, it's going to have to have been on the market for a while. I think starting off, it's got to be 4 months or longer on the market. Or it's going to be a property that you've noticed over time and watching it, there have been numerous price reductions. So it seems like there's some stress there. Property isn't percolating. Don't make the assumption, though, that no one else is watching it. You might not be the only real estate savvy person in town. So give thought to how you're going to approach the property. I don't like to use the term and I don't like to use the strategy that it falls under the heading of let's make a lowball offer. What's that going to win? It's certainly not going to win much favor from a seller, even if they're under stress and tension and must sell the property. Remember, it's going to be their agreement to your offer eventually that gets you the capture of the good deal. So I don't think insulting them from the outset, although you're going to bring in a very low offer. What is a very low offer? Well, in different price categories, that's certainly going to be 15, 20% below their list price. It may even be 25%, pushing 30. When a property is 30% over market price, or there's that much distance between where you think you can get it to be happy, it may be one to give more consideration to, because I just don't know that properties are, purchased at 60 to 70% of value, unless there's some underlying problem. All right, so set the low offer you want to make with the intention of getting the seller to respond. What good does making a low offer if you get no response do? You can't buy and sell the house by yourself. You need the seller to respond. So if it's a 20% below list price offer, know what your plan will be when the seller does respond. And my recommendation to my buyers is always the next move up should be your biggest or most price conscious move up when the seller makes their first response to you. After that, fine tune the brackets, fine tune your number increments, but I believe in the first response from the buyer after the seller's first counter to make the biggest step up in price. It's always worked well for my clients. Don't just nickel and dime from the outset. You're never going to get there, or you're certainly going to have the seller wanting to work against you and try to find someone else to come in and save them. You'll probably also not have any cooperation from their real estate agent. It takes a community of people to bring about a sale. So again, my big tip on that is don't write too low in order to not get a response from the seller if you sense there's stress and they need to sell. Secondarily, your first counter up should be your biggest step up. After that, just make small incremental changes until you solidify a settlement. Let's talk about the next category, which is more of the traditional, we're serious about buying, but we're taking it easy here. We don't want to look like we've got to buy. That's the way a lot of our buyers come at us and say, we want to buy, but we can wait. I don't know that waiting ever does much good on many things in life. Take it now, live it today. Nevertheless, there's been a new regulation handed down to us in real estate. We can no longer submit these love letters with pictures of our babies or our pets or husbands and wives, best friends in college, whatever used to get submitted with these offers to try to emotionally bring forward the seller's affection for your offer, whether it was a good one or a bad one. Well, the National Association of Realtors has stopped that. We can no longer deliver our offers with love letters to the seller. It's considered discriminatory. And maybe that's true. I think a lot of the buyers that did it under my direction or my representation were just seriously wanting to be heard and viewed as who they are and talk about how they love the home. So since the buyer can't do it, what else could you do? Well, you've got a real estate agent. We are not limited in making representations about our buyers, so make sure your agent puts together an excellent package for the seller and the seller's agent that depicts you as a strong buyer, all of your qualifications, loan qualifications or financial standing, knows your background in business, knows your background in how many properties you've been looking at, how experienced you are in the market and its direction. So your buyer's agent can put together that love letter. It just can't have the baby's photo or the cute Irish setter that you just got at the puppy farm last week. My feeling about the normal situation and my description about what that would be any property that's come on the market in the last couple of weeks, 30 days, even a 45-day-old listing. Don't make the assumption that no one else is watching it. Nevertheless, assess the lowest fair offer that you could make. Be market savvy. Of course you want to get a good deal and not overpay, but make good sense in your first offer, because your first offer is the one that is most heard by the seller. That is their full depiction of who you are as a buyer. Make a strong statement. It doesn't have to be their asking price. Just make the lowest fair offer you can make and expect their response. And then know that you want swift action once your offer is submitted. But don't make the mistake of this 24-hour deadline. Not going to help you there, really. All that does is stress everyone out in the representation circle. Everybody's busy, giving the seller 24 hours to respond. Not really right. Let the seller sleep on it at least overnight. I think a shortest length time for a buyer deadline would be 48 hours. The contract automatically gives you 3 days. If you want to shorten it, 48 hours is short enough. The offer can't be shopped too widely if it's just a 2-day turnaround. If the seller and when the seller counters you, though, step up the time, urgency, and make your biggest step up, hoping to capture the property with only that single counter. Don't figure in there's going to be 2 or 3 more back and forths, because time doesn't help you with a buyer in a relatively new listing, because most likely someone else has got their eyes on the property. Don't assume no one else is watching. That's my idea and some tips on the normal 30 to 45-day-old listing. Now let's help those buyers who need to gear up and prepare for battle in what they know will be a multiple offer competition. We have a number of our buyers right now dealing with that, with 10 offers against them, 15 offers or more. How does that even happen? Nevertheless, someone always wins. It does feel like winning lotto, though, if there's that many people working against you to compete for the property. So the first thing, be sure with your offer, knowing that there's many other buyers and bidders at the table, you have the best possible buyer's package. All of your financial qualifications. Let's talk about shortening contingencies, but I do not ever recommend a buyer write a contingency-free offer. I don't care who you are, even if you're an experienced developer. That's asking for trouble. It also looks a little bit inexperienced or overly confident. Sometimes it has caused my sellers, when we receive a full contingency-free offer, to be skeptical. I think a realistic contingency, even though very short, looks much more balanced on the buyer side. Plus, it gives you the legitimate protection you need. Maybe it's only 5 days of contingencies. Make it very convincing that you mean business and you can work quickly and you're ready to go. So, nothing like contingency free, but you could decide to go cash, no loan contingency, or if you need the protection of a loan contingency, remove the appraisal contingency. I think that's convincing. The appraisal is almost assured if you're in a multiple offer competition. If there's multiple offers on the property, no bank appraiser is going to have a confusing time deciding the market stance of that property. So removing the appraisal contingency could be a benefit for you. Now, when you decide to write your opening offer, remember it may be the only time you're ever heard by the seller. So this is the only time I would recommend to my buyer, go above market. Go above the price point because this property is probably going to beat the market price. And you want to satisfy your buyer if you're the agent. The buyer wants the house. They know they're in competition. Your job as the agent is win the house, which means you're going to go over market. But maybe they're going to be there 5 or 10 years. I don't think there's much concern to go over today's market if you know you're going to be living in that house more than 5 or 6 years. Markets for the last 100 years have over time always gone up. So you'll just live there long enough to get your money back and then make some profit, as long as it's not needing a short turnaround. So those are my 3 best examples of how to win with buyer strategies for today's complex buying markets. Every town is different, every neighborhood is different, even within a city like Los Angeles. States are different. But these basic principles have always worked in the 3 different states I've worked in, which are Texas, New York, and California. I hope they can help you. And I'll be sitting out here waiting to hear from you soon in the cabana. Until next time.